Hello everyone. Today's class we are going to focus on yoga therapeutics. We're going to be primarily taking some shapes from a format of yoga called Kaiut yoga. For today's class we'll be using a strap and a pillow. Kaiut yoga, it's a pretty amazing format of yoga. I won't speak to it too much at this moment. I'll let the practice speak for itself. But know that it was developed by a man named Francisco Kaiut. Francisco Kaiut was a long-time yoga practitioner. He also studied cranial sacral therapy, and polar therapy, and overall was just a firm believer in creating a format of yoga that addressed pain that we all experience due to age degeneration. So primarily it's focused on the joints, similar to yin in that sense, but very, very different because the postures are not passive. The intention of this practice is to bring the joints back to the state of mobility or stability, depending on the practitioner of which the joints were designed to move, how the joints were designed to function. Primarily we'll work with the hips and the shoulders. It's very simplistic, it is accessible to all, but that said, it's very deep work. So again, for today's class, grab a strap, grab a pillow, and we'll jump right in. Class will be on the shorter side, so we'll jump right in. We'll lie on our back, have your strap nearby, we'll use it in just a moment. And for now, just take up space. Open the legs wide, open the arms wide, take up space. And then interlace your hands behind your head. In Kaiut, traditionally you use a bolster. I don't have one, very sadly. You're in Egypt with me, so as we do, we will adapt. Interlace your hands behind the back. Check in really honestly. If this is in any way, shape, or form uncomfortable in the low back, then you can also bend your legs. Interlacing your hands behind the head, just allow the elbows to be heavy. Let the head rest in the hands. Close the eyes. Begin to notice your breath exactly as it is within this moment. And as you begin to shift your focus to the breath, begin to step away from whatever thoughts you might have, whatever to-do lists you might have. And just for now, just for the short practice, we begin to prioritize the feeling body. We prioritize what's happening underneath the surface. Keeping the eyes closed, gently shift your head over to the left. I like to think about it as if I was bringing my nose towards my left elbow tip. Finding that intelligent edge, and then simply feeling the belly rise and fall. Find one more rotation of the neck, same side. Just change the variation of the neck slightly. It might be towards more sensation, perhaps it's towards less sensation. Wherever you are, breathe into whatever already happens to be here. shift the gaze back through neutral. And then change the interlock of the hands. So bring the opposite pinky, opposite thumb on top. And once again, just let the head be heavy. Release any effort that's unnecessary. For now, you let breath and gravity really do the work here for you. When you're ready, and only then, go ahead and shift your gaze over to the right. Begin to listen to the body as it speaks. Finding one more rotation of the neck. Gently shift the gaze back through neutral. And then you can gently release your arms. Now you might feel some tingling, you might feel numbness, a change in circulation. That's all okay, that's all welcome. As the body speaks, whatever feedback it gives, it's inherently neutral. Meaning we get to feel whatever is here without necessarily creating a story or a narrative around it. Extend your left leg long if it's not already there, and hug the right knee in towards the chest. Now you can keep the sole of the left foot on the ground if that better serves you. As best as you can, try to really eliminate the space between your upper right thigh and the low belly, softening the shoulders away from the ears. So you're being kind with the body, but you're being incredibly persistent. So this is an example of an active shape in Kaiut, really driving the knee inwards towards your chest, and then noticing what sensation arises in the hip joint. We're here for about a minute. You can keep the eyes closed, there's not much to see, but ideally there's a lot to feel. then gently bring the right knee in towards the center line of the chest. So that's moving the right knee maybe 1 or 2 inches or so over to the left, as if I were moving my kneecap towards my sternum. This might manifest in a pinching sensation in the front of the right hip. Feel what you feel. Stay with the breath. And then we'll bring our left foot down to the ground. Here's where we'll use our strap, but we're going to use it in a way that might be different than how you're accustomed to using a strap. We'll bring the strap to the ball of the right foot, and then bring your right knee in line with the left. So here, our focus is not on the hamstring. I repeat, we're not stretching the hamstring. Our focus is on the joints. So hold the strap with both hands. Hold them in such a way that the arms can be straight. You are flexing the right foot inwards towards the shin, not just with the strap, but demanding that mobility with the ankle joints. We're holding the strap in both hands so that the arms are working. We're addressing pain that we all inevitably experience due to age generation. So one of the things is working on the health, the mobility, the stability of the hands, the fingers. So here you're really bringing the right toes inwards towards the right shin so much that you might start to feel a fire, a heat in the right shin quite quickly. I already feel it. I'm trying to extend through the right heel. I'm trying to straighten behind my right leg. So this is one of those formats of yoga that the more that you demand, the more that you ask of the body, the more that you will receive as a result. So don't make it easy for yourself. Really try to flex through that right foot, extend through the right heel, straighten behind the right leg. We're here for just about a minute. Stay with the breath. Last few cycles of breath, stay with it, flex through the right foot, extend behind the right leg, your arms are straight, your fingertips are really gripping the strap. And slowly you release. Extend the right leg long, just for a moment. You can bring the strap off to the side, relax your arms by your sides. You can straighten the left leg as well if you like. Notice how the right side body feels in comparison to the left. And then when you're ready, you'll bring your left knee inwards towards the chest, giving yourself a big squeeze. Once again, you're using the hands to drive the left thigh inwards towards the low belly. Trying to eliminate the space between the low abdomen and the upper left thigh. Softening the shoulders away from the ears. observing sensation in the hip joint. And then bring the left knee in towards the center line of the chest. Good. Once again, try to eliminate the space between the low belly and the left thigh. Notice how sensation changes in the front of the hip. Can you stay connected to the breath as you listen to the feedback from the body? And then bend your right leg. Bring the strap to the ball of the left foot. And then we will bring the left leg to a 45-degree angle. Using the strap to help the left foot flex. But that said, you're also demanding that of the ankle joint. So extending through the left heel, bringing the toes in towards the left shin, trying to straighten behind the left leg. Holding the strap in such a way that the arms are straight and the fingertips are working. So this is one of my favorite formats of yoga to teach because it's incredibly impactful. It's unbelievably healing. Most of us would benefit from approaching the practice through the lens of longevity. And that's exactly what this format of yoga is intended for. It's not focused on the muscles, it's focused on the health of the joints. So I repeat, here we're not looking for a hamstring stretch, though maybe that will happen. But our focus is on knee extension. So keep trying to extend through the left knee, extend through the left heel, and then notice what you feel. We as humans are pretty used to what sensations of muscle stretching feels like, but the joints perhaps not as familiar. So if this feels unfamiliar, uncomfortable, amazing, notice that, breathe into it. Let's let out a few rounds of cleansing breath. Big inhale all together. Exhale, big sigh, let it out the mouth. One more time, big inhale. Full exhale. We will now make our way all the way up to a seat. We're coming into a foundational shape of Kaiut called Sukhasana. We're working into the outer hips from here. So this is not a simple cross-legged position. There's a key difference. Here you can see in a simple cross-legged, my ankles are very close to my hips. Here, we'll bring our left shin parallel to the front line of the mat. So the left shin, same line as the top edge of the mat. I'm facing the other orientation, but I'm sure you can figure it out. And then you'll cross your right leg in front of that. So we're making more of a square shape with the legs than anything else. If you notice that the low back is rounding, then you can choose to sit on top of a pillow. You can also have a pillow nearby. We'll slowly begin to walk the palms forward, melting the chest down towards the floor. You can always choose to slide a pillow underneath the forehead. We're here for just over a minute or so, and I won't do any talking. As long as you feel sensation in your outer hips, you're exactly where you need to be. Stay with the breath, stay with the body. And then slowly, vertebra by vertebra, begin to lift the torso, rise all the way up. And now, I have spilled some water. We'll ignore that. Let's open the legs wide into a straddle position. So it doesn't matter how much the legs are open wide. And again, if you find that the upper back, if the low back is rounding, then you can choose to sit on top of a pillow. I'm going to do that. I have a tendency to round through the low back, especially when my legs are opened up wide. And then from here, we're actually not going to lean forward. We're going to find a variation of a twist. So you'll turn your heart center towards the extended right leg. And we're gonna flex our right foot. So we're gonna keep it incredibly, incredibly active, bringing the toes inwards towards the shins. My hands are framing the right leg. Bring your right hand down to the ground towards the outer right hip. The left hand can fall wherever it wants to. And then let the forehead round towards the knee. So our goal, it's not necessarily, again, to bring the chest towards the leg like you might in other formats of yoga. Here we're trying to bring the toes inwards towards the shin. I'm using my right hand to rotate my left ribs underneath the right. So I'm actively pressing my right hand into the ground. I'm using it as a way to rotate my left shoulder down towards the floor. Okay. So I'm trying to bring my forehead towards the knee. I'm pressing my right palm into the ground as a way to rotate my left shoulder towards the floor. We're not here for too long. Keep extending through that right leg, trying to straighten through the right knee, flexing through the right foot. My left foot is entirely passive here. Just a few rounds of breath here. Stay with it. And slowly, vertebra by vertebra, begin to lift the torso, rise up. You can release the effort from that right leg. Go ahead and give it a shake. It can be entirely passive now. And now we'll do the same thing on the opposite side. So extend through the ball of the left foot, curl the toes back in towards the shin. So we're really demanding of the ankle joint. And then now we'll bring our right hand down to the ground. The left hand will frame your left leg. Square your heart center towards that left leg. And then bring your forehead towards the knee. So we're really actively trying to round the back body. Even if you do have the mobility to bring the chest forward, that's not our goal here. The goal is to use your left hand to rotate your right shoulder forward, spiraling the left ribs upwards towards the ceiling, allowing the forehead to round towards that left knee. It might not be anywhere near it, that's not the issue. Here, we're just trying to round as much as you can, using the hands to find that rotation of the rib cage. Keep the left leg strong and active. It's gonna get lazy every few seconds, so see if you can stay with reminding the body. Right leg can be completely passive here. Just a few rounds of breath. Last few rounds of breath, reclaim the shape, extend through the left knee, bring the toes back in towards the shin, rotating your right shoulder down, left ribs up. Use the hands to help spiral the left ribs upwards. And then slowly slowly, vertebra by vertebra, lift the torso, rise all the way up. Alright, so now we're going to move into Sukhasana on the opposite side. You can bring your right shin parallel to the front line of the mat. Cross your left shin in front of that. You can choose to sit up on a pillow if you like, or not. And then allow the upper body to drape forward any amount until you find sensation in the outer hips. With every inhale you take, see if you can think about leading with the belly button, allowing that extension of the spine to create an opening in the hip joint. And then slowly, vertebra by vertebra, lift the torso, rise all the way up. Have your pillow nearby. We're going to make our way onto our backs. Coming into a familiar shape, recline butterfly pose, but we're going to add a Kaiut twist to it. So bringing the soles of the feet to touch, knees out wide. And perhaps it's not so visible, but I'm sure you can feel it. For most of us, when we open the knees out wide, the low back tends to lift off of the ground. It's a natural curvature in the lumbar spine. I'll extend my arms overhead just so you can see it. Here in Kaiut, we're going to try to eliminate that space. So we're trying to consciously press your low back into the ground by hugging your belly button up and in, pressing your low back into the floor. So as you can probably see, it was quite dramatic in my body. It shows it quite obviously. Here's my low back lifting off the ground when I'm passive. Here I'm pressing my low back into the ground. As you can see, my knees lifted quite a lot. That is exposing some honest restriction in my hip joint. So here you can join me, press your low back into the ground. You can relax your arms in whatever position feels best. I'm going to choose to bring my hands to my low belly so I can keep reminding it to press into the floor. And as much as I'm pressing my low back into the ground, I'm engaging my core. I'm inviting my knees to soften as best as they can. It's a little bit counterintuitive. You can keep the eyes closed, or you can keep them open, but keep the core active. Observe the hips with curiosity over the next minute or so. Last few seconds, reclaim the shape, press the low back into the ground, hug the navel up and in, let the knees be heavy. And slowly you can release the effort, just notice how that feels. And then gently hug the knees inwards towards your chest, give yourself a really gentle squeeze. You can sway a little bit from side to side. Alright, now extend the legs long out in front of you. Last few shapes already, short but sweet. Now bring that pillow, whatever size it is, underneath the head. And then just like we did before, you'll interlace your hands to the low back, or rather behind the head. Let the elbows be heavy, let the head be heavy. And then just observe what is present in the shoulders. Seconds here before we add another layer. Begin to rotate the neck to the right. Finding sensation in the shoulders, in the neck, but staying with the breath. And letting breath and gravity really do the work for you here. Finding one more rotation of the neck, same direction. Really slowly shift the neck back through neutral. Switch the interlock of the hands behind the head. And then just take a few rounds of breath there. Notice how that small change very well may have affected the whole. Gently begin to rotate the neck in the opposite direction, bringing your nose towards your left elbow tip. Feel what you feel. Breathe as slowly, with as much awareness as you could. Find one more rotation of the neck, same direction. Gently shift the neck back through neutral, and then slowly release your arms down by your sides. You might feel tingling, you might feel some numbness, you probably feel a change in circulation. That's all okay. Try not to react to it, just do your best to feel it. We make our way to our final resting shape, final Shavasana. You can choose to leave the pillow underneath your head, or you can remove it from behind the head, and depending on the size of the pillow, you might choose to slide the pillow underneath the thighs or even underneath the knees. Give yourself permission to take up space. And give yourself a few minutes to allow the body to integrate. I will leave you here. May this practice be of service. Thank you for sharing your time, your energy, your day with me. And thank you for gifting me the space to share my heart with you. I hope to see you soon. All my love.